One of the most overt themes of 2022 was the world's shifting economic supremacy toward the East. Much of this movement was first made possible because of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's ongoing strengthening. The BRICS group appears to have the biggest impact on the global economic and geopolitical landscape in 2023. This is because the BRICS group of 5 major emerging economies, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, has made significant strides in terms of shared policy coordination, and because several other economies have expressed an interest in joining the bloc, which is growing in power. How far-reaching are B.R.I.C.S, and what strategy do they employ to outperform and supplant Western-backed coalitions in the global economic sphere? Now, one of the most significant objectives the BRICS members appear to be working toward is a shift away from dependency on the US dollar. Russia and China had already started to put clear local currency promotion strategies into place before the Ukraine war, which looks to have expedited de-dollarization efforts throughout much of the non-Western globe, as their ties with the US continued to deteriorate. For instance, the dollar's share in bilateral trade between the two countries fell below 50% for the first time in the first quarter of 2020, after reaching over 90% just 5 years earlier. In keeping with the theme, foster high-quality BRICS partnership, usher in a new era for global development, the 5 nations presented a new 75-point declaration during the 14th BRICS summit.
We were so happy when the Russian foreign minister came. He was at home here. This is home. You should have looked at all the comments everywhere in the social media. Our people were so happy to have a Russian foreign minister here. We are happy that they saw it befitting to respect us and to come to us as a way of saying we respect you and we want to give you some form of an explanation as to what is really happening. We can't say the same about this one of Treasury of the USA, who was coming to steal our minerals and our wild life. I don't know what she was doing. America can never be welcomed here in South Africa, in the African continent, because we know when they come here, they are coming to check what more can we steal and finish off this continent.
One of the main topics discussed was developing a common BRICS payment system for retail purchases and transactions across member countries. This only expands upon earlier initiatives undertaken by China and Russia to offer other international payment networks to the US-led SWIFT system. In 2023, it is projected that the other BRICS founding nations, China and Russia in particular, will step up their efforts to promote the organization. Brazil is expected to exploit its status as a founding member of BRICS to improve both its development and the economic growth of the rest of the region. The most significant recent development from the organization, however, may be the declaration that the 5 BRICS member states are now seriously contemplating the introduction of a BRICS reserve currency. The new currency, which will be based on a basket of each country's domestic currencies, will be developed to better serve the economic interests of the BRICS nations. China is without a doubt the economic superpower among the BRICS nations. Due to its rapid economic growth and global expansion, China, which has the second largest nominal economy and dominates the global economy overall when measured by purchasing power parity, will have a significant impact on how the global economy develops in 2023. The two nations are also already setting the bar high for presenting the world with a substantial alternative to Western political groupings like the G7, given their allegedly unshakable bond with nearby BRICS member Russia. The BRICS group is now progressively uniting on a number of critical issues as a result of South Africa, India, and Brazil has close political and economic ties with China, Russia, or both. In reality, research has shown that in the 10 years after South Africa's official accession to the organization in 2010, which changed B.R.I.C.S into BRICS, the 5 nations were able to coordinate policy across over 70 significant areas. The establishment of the new development bank, which is presently funding significant infrastructure projects throughout the world, and the creation of the BRICS Contingent Reserve Arrangement, CRA, a mechanism for assisting the BRICS nations through additional liquidity and other methods, are among its biggest achievements. But as the world has grown increasingly polarized over the past year or so, the bloc has boosted efforts to advance its economic interests, which is in turn fostering powerful alternative financial systems. Recent reports that several countries have sought to join the BRICS countries shouldn't come as a surprise in light of these developments. What countries are the new BRICS alliance candidates wanting to join then? The number of countries wishing to join the BRICS group of countries and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization has increased dramatically in recent years and is currently up to 20, according to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. The minister added that the aforementioned countries make significant contributions in their respective fields. This includes a number of African nations, as well as Egypt, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Indonesia, Argentina, and Mexico. Lavrov claims that even identifying these countries shows the futility of efforts to isolate our country. This large collection of nations includes Saudi Arabia, and if approved, it will likely be the most significant addition to the BRICS, especially given the precarious geopolitical environment in which the globe finds itself right now. U.S. President Joe Biden's appeal for OPEC to raise oil production not only went ignored, but also appeared to inspire the worldwide oil cartel to take the other direction and decrease output by a huge 2 million barrels per day. As a result, in 2022, ties between the U.S. and the kingdom dramatically worsened. If relations between the two countries continue to deteriorate, Saudi Arabia will be more pushed to embrace the BRICS and Eastern economies in general as Washington interprets such drastic steps as Saudi Arabia siding with Russia and threatening appropriate retaliation.
Let's stop in Saudi Arabia, shall we? Remember when the president went over and said, please pump some more oil? And they said, nah. I mean, we'll pump a couple 100,000 gallons, for barrels for you. And then he said, okay, well, can you just hold it until after the election? And then they came out and said, your president wanted you to not know that it was going to go away before the election. We thought you should know that. Interfering with the election? Who? Biden or the Saudis? I'm not sure which one you mean. So then he said, there's going to be repercussions for that. Here's Saudi Arabia's response this weekend.
All of us, we are projects of jihad and martyrdom. That's my message to anybody that thinks that he can threaten us.
China's entire investment in Saudi Arabia, which has so far gotten the lion's share of its money for infrastructure under the Belt and Road Initiative, has already risen. Some or all of the BRICS nations will surely profit from the Gulf nations' purposeful turn away from the West and toward the East.
For those of you paying attention, Russia said they're not taking no more dollars or euros for fuel to other countries. The American dollar is really worthless. It's bagged by nothing. And the only thing that keep it good in the world is the oil in the Middle East and all that stuff. So the Middle East takes the American money, so imagine what happens when other countries don't want the dollar no more because they follow suit with Russia, China, North Korea, Arabs. We done. Well, y'all done. It's over. They ruin your economy. Your dollar becomes worthless in the world. It's fucking over for Americans. They worried about the wrong shit. They worry about the wrong shit. You trying to put sanctions on somebody when your money ain't even...
China is presently Saudi Arabia's largest commercial partner. Its exports to the kingdom totaled more than $50 billion last year, or 18% of all exports. The security of China's energy supply will be Saudi Arabia's top concern for the next 50 years, according to Saudi Aramco, the nation's state-owned oil business, which was announced in May 2021. Tsai's announcement to Arab leaders that China intends to purchase oil and gas in yuan was undoubtedly the most significant political action that took place during the summit. Beijing wants to increase the use of its currency globally while simultaneously undermining the still dominant US dollar's position of global hegemony. Among the many agreements and transactions involving strategic and commercial partnerships that were struck during Xi's visit, Algeria, a gas-rich nation, formally submitted its application to join the B.R.I.C.S alliance at the beginning of November, highlighting the potential breadth of the coalition's energy interests. And at this point, we end today's